peephole. Everything closed this late, but your contacts. Here to catch a vibe, you might catch a little contact. Only thing showing this late be the freak show.
Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, and some more football content for you. And I'm delighted today for a little Manchester United talk preview of the season by ex-Manchester United Cardiff City defender, Mr. Derek Brazil. How are you, my friend?
Great to see you again, mate.
Indeed, mate. It's my favourite person to talk to. I love that every time you come, like when you come in, when we did it online, always a good time, mate. Always a good time. But we always end up having a good chat about United, so I thought, why not do a little preview of the season, see what you think of the new manager after his first season. So we'll start with that. Like, Erik Ten Hags came in last year, had a rocky first two games, but I thought it was pretty good after that.
Yeah, I mean,
the odd humiliation.
When he got the job, I was really pleased because I thought, they're not going down the route of the man like they had Mourinho, Van Gaal, people like that who just did it for themselves, really.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Erik Ten Hag, he had a good pedigree at Ajax, and if he was going to be supported by the club, which is still the Glazers, hopefully that'll change soon. But his signings last year, bringing in Casemiro, Martinez at the back, getting Varane fit, Malacia, Eriksen towards the end. It's good signings. He's trying to build a team there, I think, and like you said, after the first two games, the whole media, the likes of Carragher and all the Liverpool boys, just slaughtering him.
Could they?
But he stuck to his guns, and it turned out to be a brilliant season in terms of finishing third in the league, winning the Carabao Cup, and then obviously in the final against Man City, who are unbelievable.
Yeah, and you look at the bench, just difference in benches. Like United were bringing on like McTominay and Weghorst with all the greatest respect compared to what City are bringing on. Even the second striker, I forget his name, Alvarez, isn't it? They signed him as like a backup, and he looks good enough to play for any Premier League team.
Their whole bench would probably finish 5th or 6th in the league.
It's mental, isn't it?
But I think Ten Hag has had to deal with the Ronaldo situation.
He dealt with that really well.
I thought he did brilliant with that, because at the end of the day, Ronaldo was brilliant as he was for United, and the initial euphoria of him coming back was great, but he kind of started to lose a little bit for me in terms of his magic. Do
you think as his performances dipped, he almost gets frustrated, and then he almost it's almost like a distraction from the fact that he's losing a bit on the field?
Probably
off the field stuff. Look, to be fair to him, he went through something horrific as well with his family and stuff like that.
Which you've got to take into consideration.
Of course you have, yeah.
But I think someone like Ten Hag was big enough to say no, and not a lot of people would say that to Ronaldo, because Ronaldo has been class everywhere he's gone. But then you look at Ten Hag as well, how he improved Rashford,
Wan-Bissaka as well.
Wan-Bissaka, and then bringing on Garnacho as well, who's going to be a fantastic player.
Yeah.
Bringing players in like Anthony, who's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's 22, 23.
He's young, isn't he? And I think it's interesting. So it's a bit of a bugbear of mine, actually, and it's happening again actually this week. Is Harry Maguire gets quite a lot of protection from the media, the Talk Sports, the Sky Sports. They will criticise him, but they will sort of, be like the odd comment. Whereas they'll spend 20-minute segments or phone-ins telling you how bad Anthony's been. And it's like, he hasn't been that bad. He works hard.
He's had mistakes.
Of course he has.
But he's also had moments of brilliance this year.
And he's also had little patches of consistency
just
as well.
Touching on the Harry Maguire thing, it's the English media. They just will not have him criticised. You'll have one or two pundits, like you said, on Talk Sport or on Sky Sports and stuff like that, but they won't criticise him. And he was poor last year. Very poor.
I would argue, mate, he's 6th choice centre-back now.
He is. I mean,
because
the news of
Johnny Evans gone for a year.
But like, if you look at him, I watched nearly all the Man United games last year. Maguire must have made, and I'm talking about, everyone makes mistakes, but Maguire must have made 5 or 6 mistakes that led to goals.
Yeah, and people don't include the ones that Martinez and Casemiro cleaned up with last-ditch tackles. There was one in Europe where Casemiro comes like flying in from like 10 yards behind, and Maguire
Martinez
giving
has
the ball
been,
away.
he's probably, I know everyone goes on about Casemiro last year and how good he was, but for me, Martinez has been.
They missed him, didn't they? As soon as he went.
But he's been an absolute warrior and can play as well.
Yeah,
he can
he's a
ping
really
a ball
good
as
footballer.
well. But Maguire, I think, you're always going to get the English media, criticise him. The one thing that's probably stopping him from leaving is that his wages are too high.
But you know what I don't understand, right? Is, to me, they got the Euros in the summer. Gareth Southgate's already said, like, if he doesn't play, he's probably going to lose his spot. If he goes to West Ham, which seems to be the team which is trying to get him at the moment, right? He'll go to West Ham and he'll have a great season, because playing for David Moyes and playing for the way West Ham play will suit him. They play with a low block, they defend their own box, everything which he is good at.
Yeah.
Whereas if he stays at United or went to Chelsea or Tottenham or Arsenal or someone, they all play on the halfway line. This is why I don't think Declan Rice is going to do that well for Arsenal, because he's so used to playing so deep.
And breaking out.
Yeah, he's not used to being in the opponent's half and dictating play. And I'm
He's
not
spot
sure.
on. He's spot on with United, because
It's different.
I went to watch United at the end of the season against Villa, and they are. If you're a centre back at United, you're more or less 1v1.
Yeah.
Or you're a centre back, you're 2v2. Whereas you say someone like West Ham, or when he was at Leicester, he had so many players in front of him, and he was so deep. So that space in behind, if the ball was overplayed, keeper would get it, or he'd go out touch. So he looked good. I think the spotlight on Maguire.
Ten Hag's game doesn't suit him, does
No,
it?
not at all. And you can see by the goalkeeper they brought in. He's ruthless, Ten Hag, and you need that, because De Gea, 12 years, 5 years Player of the Year, Golden Glove or whatever, and De Gea went, "You're not for me, because you can't play out from the back."
And he did.
So-
He made mistakes as well.
Yeah.
De Gea, and I think, I think they would have kept him if his shot stopping had been up here where it's been for so many years. But he started to make mistakes in that area.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Probably because he was nervous about the other stuff.
You look at Maguire as well. I mean, Lindelof as well. When Maguire, Lindelof and De Gea played, it was a bit of a disaster waiting to happen. But I watched Lindelof last year when he played alongside Varane and Matt.
Spot on.
Good player.
Yeah.
Really good player, Lindelof.
Almost
but
like
he got
there's
kind
other-
of tarnished
yeah.
with
The two of them together.
yeah. So I think he was. And Shaw didn't have a great season the year before.
He needs
Very good
competition,
season,
Luke
yeah.
Shaw.
And he has it with Malacia as well. I think Malacia is at the right age. Probably not to take his place just yet. But Shaw, like you've seen, came into centre half for 3 games. Outstanding.
He was very, very good, wasn't he?
Outstanding player. But go back to Maguire, I think he needs to move on. Whether it'll affect his place for England, only him and Gareth Southgate know that.
He's got to play, though, I think, now.
Yeah, but
because there's other defenders.
It says a lot when he won teams come in for him. And that's a team that's come into 100 million.
Yeah.
So I don't see any other teams. I don't see someone in that. I don't see Villa coming in for him.
No.
And those type of teams are in that bracket. Villa.
But then again, your Brightons, your Villas, they all play with quite a high line. So again, doesn't suit them.
No.
That's why Brighton are trying to get Levi Colwell from Chelsea on loan again.
Yeah.
Because it's more
Chelsea
of a
will be
footballer.
they'll probably be stupid enough to sell him. Because
Well, he
a
signed
good
a new
player.
contract yesterday.
Oh, is he? Oh.
Yeah, I thought, because that's what I thought. I thought the way that Brighton they were just basically saying, we want Casado. If you want Casado, you've got to give us Levi Colwell. But he signed a new
the money's
contract.
bonkers now, mind.
That's crazy, man. Crazy.
If a player's had a really good season, it's like 100 million. Everything starts at 100 million now, and then they either work up or down from it, and it's crazy money.
Well, Declan Rice's transfer, very quickly on this, like Declan Rice's transfer this year has kind of broken the transfer market, because I saw someone saying United want 40 million for Scott McTominay, and so I saw people complaining. I was saying, well, no, he's a Scottish international. He's played over 150 Premier League games or something stupid. He's played at least 100 Premier League games at Manchester United. He's a good footballer. He's just down the pecking order, and he's like mid-20s, so he needs to play. 40 million is probably about right. But because Declan Rice is 100 million, everything just gets pushed on.
I think on his day,
I'd have to say
I'd
that
have
before.
McTominay before Royce on his day.
Yeah,
I know
the
it's a bit
problem.
controversial, but I think when McTominay is on it, he scores goals, he gets stuck in, and he plays under pressure. Every time you play for Man United, you play under pressure. Whereas Royce is the main man there, don't really play under pressure. If they lose, okay.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. It kind of Moyes gets blamed on it. Whereas if you're a Man United player and you don't perform, then you've got the media on you. You've got all the anti-United pundits on you. Whereas Rice is English.
Yeah.
He plays for West Ham, which not a great club, and he's the next big thing. He plays well for England, but then people go to England. You look at the last 22 games, they've probably played with 3 good teams.
Yeah.
So
even then, they still pick.
I could play in the 2 in front of the back 4, playing against Lithuania and Moldova and all these
San
teams.
Marino
So it's.
But the funny thing is with the England team for me is that they still fall into the same trap they've fallen into since I was younger, which is they pick players on name and not the in-form players and not the young players coming through. Levi Colwill should already have an England cap.
Yeah.
Been playing for Brighton, who finished in top 6. So it's not like that, he's on loan, but he's down the bottom of the league. He's one of the best defenders England have got. So they should be blooding him now to get him ready for the Euros and the World Cups and that. But
I think that's Southgate has his favourites, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Raheem Sterling will probably still be in the squad. There, right, back on United, though, mate. So obviously last season was interesting, wasn't it? And I thought actually, when Casemiro got suspended and then they played Arsenal the next game, didn't they? Mm-hmm. I actually thought if they'd beaten Arsenal at that game, I thought they might be the ones to go on and challenge for the title, just on the momentum they had at that point. But then his suspension kind of took the wind out of their sails.
Yeah.
And then they lost to Arsenal, and then
they lost him. He had 2 red cards.
Yeah.
So it was a 6 games.
Yeah, it ended up 6 games. I think,
and
for one of them.
like Casemiro is, he's languid. When you watch him on TV, he just pops up everywhere. But then when I watched him live against Villa, he just glides around the place, and he's not blessed with pace.
Clever,
but he just seems to get into that position because he sees what's going to happen, and he's already there. You never see him in a foot race with somebody.
No.
Whereas you think all of a sudden they're away, but he's guided himself into that position. But he was at Real Madrid. He was outstanding. I know people go about his age and stuff, but fantastic player last year for them. Will he have the same season?
Well, I think this is the interesting thing, isn't it? Like when I see, you see the anti-United contingent of fans and pundits, and they're saying, Mason Mount and Højlund and all these signings, they're not going to win the league. But actually, when I look around at the sort of traditional top 6, say, and I look at the signings that they've made, Arsenal have spent a shitload of money. Timber's a good signing, I think. Rice is I don't think is a guarantee that he can take his form from West Ham to Arsenal. Liverpool obviously signed McAllister. That's a pretty good signing.
Yeah.
But United have pretty much addressed a lot of their issues, but also the players they brought in are perfect for how he wants to play. If he wants to play just Casemiro as a holder, he can play with 2 8s, and he'll have Fernandes and Mount. Or if he needs a bit more control, he can have Mount or Fernandes playing the 2. Or he can, if they get Amrabat, which looks like it could go through over the next couple of days, like he's a phenomenal player.
Cheap to buy as well.
25 million.
Sometimes that's
he was better than Declan Rice in that fight at the European final.
But because
West Ham won.
Declan is like never forgiven Declan Rice because he played for Ireland and Grealish. So all of a sudden, but I think with Amrabat, I think if he settles in quickly, if Højlund settles in quickly, and this is like a load of people saying, we should have gone for Kane. Kane's going to cost you 100 million plus.
Then you can't.
It's going to cost you 400 grand a week.
Yeah.
There's no. Notice people say he scores goals in the Premier League, but there's no guarantee. But you ask, and I'm sure if you ask if Ten Hag was here now, he would say, yes, we want to win the league this year. He knows United are not going to win the league this year. So when he come in, I'm thinking, right, he's thinking, right, 2 or 3 transfer windows. So my 3rd season, we should have the squad I want, have the style of play I want, whether it's the goalkeepers, the back 4, midfield, attackers. But in 3 seasons, then I'll start to think, right, now we need to win the league. He's not expecting, I don't think many United supporters are expecting to win the league this year. They'll be happy top 4 again, United supporters, and a cup.
Yeah, go well in the Champions League.
And go well in the Champions League and have some good nights and watch some entertaining football. I don't think there's a Man United supporter there that would say, yeah, we'll win the league this year.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Amrabat as well is almost you could see him. He'll play alongside Casemiro when they play like Liverpool's and City's. But actually, as Casemiro gets older, he'll slot into that and take his place because of his age. So. And Mount is like, I think, does the Christian Eriksen role, but just with a bit more energy and a bit more robust. Yeah. Eriksen can still do his. I thought Eriksen looked really tired when he came back from his injury at the end of the season.
I can see him coming on the last 20-25 minutes when the game's opened up.
Yeah, just
or whether
a bit of magic or control the game.
Or even if United are 1-0 down or something and teams are dropping back where he's got not so much pressure on him, where he can pick a pass. Whereas in the hurly-burly of the first 45, 60 minutes,
he struggles.
His legs are gone a little bit. And that's where I think, like you say, Mount comes in. So he's picked players, and if you picked United starting lineup now, you'd be looking at players being left out like Garnacho, which I think Garnacho's, I watched him last year, amazing player. He's still that young lad who wants to...
He's been good in pre-season as well, and some of them haven't covered themselves in glory. And pre-season doesn't matter; like it's all about getting fit, isn't it? But like, I think actually at the start of the season, you might see Garnacho start a couple of games with Rashford through the middle, just to give Højlund a bit of time to settle.
Yeah.
And also, it kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Is you sort of dangle the carrot to Garnacho and say you can start just because Rashford's here, you can still start. But also just let Højlund have the pressure off, come off a bench, maybe pinch a goal here and there. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. How much of a difference do you think Onana will make in terms of playing forward? Because you mentioned they go with 1 at the back, but they go with 1 at the back because Ten Hag wants his keeper behind the 1, doesn't he, almost?
Well, I think Onana, he's...
A few heart attacks.
He's got to give you fair to this. Like, even just a couple of pre-season games I watched him, he's been so far over his goal. He is going to make a mistake, and someone's going to score from the halfway line, and then you'll have your likes of Carragher and Redknapp and all them going, oh, it's crazy, you can't do that in the Premier League and all that. But they said the same about Martinez last year, too small. So they'll be quick to criticise. And he will make mistakes, but I think it would be eye-dropping to see him actually play so far up the pitch like he does. But if he does it properly, and United, the players in front of him do it properly, because I don't know who they played pre-season, and he was literally up there the halfway line, which allowed Martinez to go into midfield. So the ball was played into Martinez. All of a sudden, Martinez, as a centre-back, is in centre midfield in an attacking role.
Yeah. And they create a massive overload of numbers because you have Martinez in the midfield. You've got normally Wan-Bissaka goes in and tucks in alongside the holding midfielders, and Shaw's bombing up the left. They will literally leave, Varane at the back.
He'll be hoping for a better start than last year because his team is more moulded. I bet, like for the Wolves game, I think it's the Wolves game, the first game of the season. Will any of the new signings start? Probably not. Mount probably be the only one.
I think probably starts, doesn't he? Because I think
Mount
when you compare Mount and Eriksen, I think it depends if Amrabat comes in. Like if Amrabat was to come in tomorrow,
they got 2 games. They got a game Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday. So yeah, Højlund's supposed to be being announced. I think on whichever one's at Old Trafford, and I think if Amrabat comes in, I could see him starting because I think it's mental that he's only coming in for 25 million. Like it's incredible. Where do you think United will finish in the league? Do you think we are definite for top 4?
Not definite, no.
It's cutthroat, isn't it? But
no, I wouldn't say definite. I think that's the aim, which might upset a lot of United supporters. They'd be saying we should be winning the league, but if they can finish 3rd this year or possibly 2nd, then closer to Man City, but then Liverpool are going to improve. You would think Chelsea will definitely improve. Arsenal will probably be the same once they get their system going again. Newcastle. So there's Villa. Villa for me, when I watched them last year at Old Trafford,
Great manager.
They looked a good team then, and they were 2 or 3 players away from pushing. So there's more teams. So you're talking about 8 teams for 4, whereas normally it's 6 for 4. So I think, and plus, you know, with the cup games as well, with the Champions League games, it'll help United that they're not playing Thursdays now. So it'll also help Liverpool that they're not playing at all, are they?
Don't know when.
No, they're in Europe. So they'll be
League.
playing, you know, they're always playing catch up. So
Chelsea got nothing, haven't they?
you got Brighton as well, chuck in the mix.
Yeah.
I know they've got Europe.
Got a great manager as well.
So whether they can sustain that.
Well, I think the biggest problem for them is if they lose Caicedo as well. They've lost Caicedo and McAllister, which are just such incredible players.
And guaranteed next year they'll lose Ferguson as well.
Yeah, well, I think there was a few whispers that he won.
Well, I know United were interested. He's a young lad. I think he made his debut.
Contract, didn't he,
He made his debut for Bowes in Dublin. He was like 14, 15.
Jesus.
He's such a big boy. But then you're looking at, you know, if it doesn't work out with Hoyland and all that, he'll be the next big one that the big clubs will be after.
Yeah, I think so. He looks like he's the real deal, doesn't he?
So I'd say I'd be happy with top 4.
Champions League quarter-final is a minimum, do you reckon?
I think so. It's a bit early to say how they do. It depends how the new players blend into the team.
Yeah.
And how well they do. You know, if Hoyland comes in and is a sensation, if Amrabat comes in, you know, if Mount goes back to the player that he was when he was at Chelsea early on, if Onana, you know, is on top form, you don't know. But then you might get a team in the quarterfinals like Leipzig or something like that. You don't know. It's one chance. But
it's a bit of luck who you get and
injuries and suspensions as well.
Do you know, on the Hoyland thing, very quickly, the way I look at it, right, is there is pressure on him. Of course there is, but there's pressure for playing for Manchester United. But what interests me is the amount of chances which Bruno created last year for United, and he got whatever he got. I think 20 assists or something. But they worked out that he actually created like triple that or something, and they didn't get taken. And Weghorst missed so many chances.
He could have.
If Hoyland just scores 50% of those chances that Weghorst misses, he probably gets 10.
Weghorst could have had 10, 12 goals last season.
That's what I mean. So if Hoyland gets, if Hoyland at the end of this season, if Hoyland's got between 10 and 15 goals, I think that's a great first season for him.
Massively, because United have been lacking. They've got lots of players who like to drift out to the wings and be part of the play. Like Anthony, like Garnacho, Martial. I mean, Martial, he's another one they're trying to offload. Where again, he's on great wages. What does he need to go? Because he could probably go to Saudi when his contract's up next year.
Yeah.
So, but I think
and this is the problem though.
The new lad they've signed is that he will get into the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
And if he misses, more chances he's going to get, the more he's going to score. But it's like anything. It's like you're in the media. You know, if he plays his first game and misses a sitter, he did it with Haaland last year in the Community Shield. Oh, it's going to be a flop.
Yeah, he didn't score for the first couple of games, didn't he? And it was like, oh, is he this? Is that?
It's just it'll just be criticism. So why are you buying a kid like that for that age? But United haven't bought him just for this season.
Of course not.
They've bought him for next season, the year after, that he's get that experience of a year in the Premier League. He might take it straight away, and he might look easy, but if it takes him a year, I don't think United will be bothered about that.
Don't sign a 21-year-old and think, oh, he's just going to come in and...
No. It'd be great if he does, but he'll find it difficult because, you know, having played in the leagues he's played in, you know, playing with Atalanta is different to playing for Man United.
Yeah. And the good thing is he's an out-and-out United fan. So it's like, he's going to want it to work more than anyone.
Yeah.
And he's on low money. So he's not there, he's not there to pick up the money, and if he gets injured, he don't care because he's getting the money. And I think it's interesting because I actually think people don't realise how good he is off the ball. I watched just when they were linked to him towards the end of the season. I watched back a couple of the games he played for Denmark and Atlanta, and he presses like Weghorst used to press, which I thought was if Weghorst could have finished, he'd have done a tremendous job for United, but he just couldn't head the ball and he couldn't finish. His pressing was out of this world. He actually got United a few goals from
that.
putting them under pressure in the box, but he's very similar to that Højlund, isn't
I
he?
think Ten Hag would have done his homework. I mean, he would have spoke to Ericsson and said, well, you know, you
did
play with this lad. You know, he scored 6 and 6. What's he like?
A punt, innit?
You know, I mean, I can't imagine Ericsson would just do it because he's a fellow countryman and say, oh yeah, take him in because he's not stupid, Ericsson. He'd say, this boy's the real deal.
Yeah.
Get him now while you can.
Well,
and if he is a success, you know, if he's a success, that 80 million, whatever that is, 64 million plus add-ons, it'll be a snip.
Yeah. United fans complain that they don't sign the Casados or the Haalands when they're young before they become, you know, we sign them when they're 80 million, they say. But it's like, well, if you're finally doing that, you're signing them before he's hit his sort of peak. And it's like, oh,
but it's like everyone thought Kane. So United fans did want Kane. The English media wanted Kane to go to United as well because it sounds great. There's so many stories.
I don't think he's dead, me. I think they'll get Højlund and Amrabat, and then they'll sell Henderson and Fred and all these. They got to get rid of. And then if Kane's still there in the last couple of weeks of the window, and they've managed to offload all the different players they want to get rid of, I just think they'll say Harry Maguire plus 60. But they got no pressure on them then, you know.
Yeah.
Because if you could start the season with Kane and Højlund, then it's got a season where he's complete non-focus.
Yeah.
He can just come on.
Don't get me wrong, I'd love Kane United.
I think he'd do perfect for a Ten Hag system. I just think that there's I'm not saying it's going to happen or anything like that.
If the club had been sold by the end of the season, just gone, and the Saudis had come in, or what's his name? Sure, fella.
Radcliffe.
Yeah. If that takeover had been done, then the possibility of Kane might have been more, plus Højlund.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You just don't know what's... This thing is so long, isn't it? Right, that's your Manchester United preview. Thank you very much to Derek Brazil, as always.
Welcome.
Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the Patreon as well.
Only thing showing is late, be the freak show. Call for your cum, I be checking through the peephole.